Why do we look back at Rome? Because its story is a mirror for our own times. Rome's triumphs were spectacular, but its collapse was even more so, destroyed from within, not by invaders. The historian Appian, a Greek outsider, chronicled this self-destruction as a warning for the future. He saw the Republic's fall as a human tragedy, driven by ambition, greed, and violence. His work, The Civil Wars, is a step-by-step guide to how a free state collapses into tyranny. Appian shows us that the road to empire is paved with broken laws, personal armies, and political violence. Through his eyes, we'll witness the Republic's suicide, the rise of the super-rich, the dispossessed poor, and generals loyal only to themselves. This isn't just ancient history, it's a timeless warning about the dangers of internal division and the seductive appeal of the strong man. Rome's story is our story, if we're not careful. Let's follow Appian into the heart of Rome's unraveling. Rome began as a city of citizen farmers and soldiers, united by shared sacrifice and civic duty. In these early days, every Roman was expected to serve both on the battlefield and in the fields, forging a powerful sense of community and mutual responsibility. This unity was the backbone of the Republic, binding rich and poor together in a common cause. This spirit fueled Rome's meteoric rise, but with each victory, the spoils of conquest brought not just wealth, but deep and lasting problems. The influx of riches and slaves from conquered lands began to change the very fabric of Roman society, creating new temptations and divisions. As legions fought far from home, small family farms were neglected and fell into ruin. When soldiers finally returned, they found their land lost, their homes abandoned, and their families struggling. Many veterans, once proud defenders of Rome, now faced only debt and poverty, with little hope for recovery. The wealthy elite seized the opportunity, buying up land at bargain prices and creating vast estates worked by armies of slaves. The heart of the Republic, the independent farmer, was slowly hollowed out, replaced by a new class of absentee landlords and exploited laborers. Rome became two cities, one of immense wealth and power, where the elite lived in luxury, and another of landless, desperate poor, crowded into the city's slums and struggling to survive. The dispossessed lost their stake in the Republic, their loyalty shifting from the state to anyone who promised relief or hope. Discontent simmered in the streets, as more and more citizens felt abandoned by the system that once protected them. The Senate, now a club for the super-rich, ignored the growing crisis. They saw the poor not as fellow citizens in need, but as a dangerous mob, a threat to their own privilege, not a problem to be solved. The social fabric frayed, and the old system was unprepared for this new reality. The values that once held Rome together were eroding, replaced by suspicion and resentment. The stage was set for confrontation. Tensions mounted, and the city braced for the inevitable clash between old power and new demands. Someone would have to challenge the entrenched elite, to speak for those who had lost everything and demand change. The question was not if, but when, and who would dare to light the fuse that could ignite the Republic's simmering tensions. The Republic's own success had sown the seeds of its destruction. The explosion was coming, and Rome would never be the same again. The first to challenge the system were the Gracchi brothers, Tiberius and Gaius, aristocrats who saw the danger of inequality growing in the heart of Rome. They were born into privilege, but their vision was for a fairer republic, one where the common citizen would not be crushed by the ambitions of the elite. Tiberius, as tribune, proposed a bold land reform to restore small farmers, aiming to revive the backbone of Rome's military and society. This plan directly threatened the vast estates and wealth of the senatorial elite, who had grown powerful by exploiting the poor. The Senate, fearing the loss of their dominance, blocked him at every turn. But Tiberius, determined and defiant, bypassed them, taking his law straight to the people, a shocking breach of tradition that shook the foundations of Roman politics. On voting day, chaos erupted. Senators and their loyal clients stormed the assembly, killing Tiberius with clubs. In that moment, they crossed a sacred line, committing political murder in broad daylight, forever staining the forum with blood. Violence had now become a tool of politics, a weapon wielded by those desperate to keep their grip on power. 10 years later, Gaius Gracchus, Tiberius's younger brother, rose to continue the fight. He pushed for even broader reforms: cheap grain for the hungry, jobs for the poor, and citizenship for Rome's Italian allies, hoping to unite the Republic's people. The Senate, feeling threatened once more, declared martial law. Soldiers marched through the streets, hunting down Gaius and his followers with ruthless efficiency. Cornered and betrayed, Gaius chose death over capture. In the aftermath, thousands of his supporters were executed without trial, their only crime being hope for a better Rome. The age of political murder had truly begun, casting a long shadow over the Republic. The Republic's old rules, restraint, debate, and respect for law, were shattered, replaced by fear and violence. The historian Appian saw this as the moment when violence replaced debate, when Rome's destiny changed course forever. The elite had shown the world they would kill to protect their power, no matter the cost to the Republic. The people learned a harsh lesson: the law would not protect them from the ambitions of the powerful. From that day forward, Rome's politics would never be the same. The Republic had entered a new, darker era, one where blood, not words, would decide its fate. The violence of the Gracchi era set a dark precedent, but the next generation escalated it. Gaius Marius, a new man, reformed the army, recruiting landless poor and promising them land and loot. Soldiers' loyalty shifted from the Republic to their generals. The army became a private militia, a weapon for ambitious men. Sulla, Marius's rival, marched his army on Rome, an unthinkable crime, seizing the city by force. Marius returned with his own army, unleashing a bloody purge. Sulla came back, fought a battle at Rome's gates, and declared himself dictator. The eagles, symbols of Roman might, now turned inward, devouring the Republic. The army, once Rome's shield, became its executioner. Appian saw the transformation. Generals now decided Rome's fate, not the Senate or the people. The cycle of violence and revenge was unstoppable. The Republic's institutions were powerless. The unthinkable had become routine. Rome's civil wars had truly begun. The Republic was bleeding out. Sulla's victory brought the proscriptions, a systematic campaign of political murder. Lists of enemies were posted. Anyone could kill for a reward, turning citizens into informers and bounty hunters. Trust vanished. Greed became a death sentence. The rule of law was replaced by terror and vengeance. Appian tells of families torn apart, neighbors betraying each other, and the forum turned into a marketplace for severed heads. The countryside suffered too. Armies plundered farms, cities were punished, and land was seized for veterans. The civil wars devastated ordinary people, not just the elite. Fear replaced civic spirit. The state became a predator. The suffering was universal, fueling more poverty and instability. The Republic's social fabric was shredded. The wars were a social catastrophe, not just a political struggle. Peace at any price became the desperate hope. After Sulla's bloody dictatorship, the Roman Republic was left a hollow shell, its proud institutions now mere shadows of their former selves. Power no longer resided in the Senate or the people, but in the hands of those who commanded armies and could bend the state to their will. Julius Caesar, the most brilliant and ambitious of all Rome's generals, learned this lesson better than anyone. He saw that the old rules no longer applied. After conquering Gaul and expanding Rome's borders, Caesar faced a fateful choice: submit to the Senate's authority, risking humiliation and prosecution, or seize power for himself and change Rome forever. In 49 BC, Caesar made his decision. He led his loyal legions across the Rubicon River, an act of open rebellion that declared war on the state and shattered the fragile peace. Civil war erupted, engulfing the Roman world in chaos. Caesar against Pompey, the Senate's chosen champion, as families and friends were torn apart by loyalty and ambition. Caesar's military genius and the devotion of his veterans prevailed. Pompey was defeated, and Caesar returned to Rome, hailed as a hero, and soon named dictator for life. He was merciful to his enemies and wildly popular with the masses, but all real power now belonged to him alone. The Senate and the people had become spectators. The Republic's ancient institutions, once the pride of Rome, ceased to function in any meaningful way. The old order was gone. Fearing the end of liberty, a group of senators, calling themselves liberators, plotted and carried out Caesar's assassination, hoping to restore the Republic. Instead, their actions unleashed another brutal round of civil war, plunging Rome into even deeper turmoil and bloodshed. Caesar's heir Octavian and his loyal ally Mark Antony hunted down the assassins, but soon turned on each other, each determined to claim supreme power for himself. The Republic was dead. The prize now was sole rule over Rome. The dream of shared government had vanished. The historian Appian describes the final collapse. Liberty lost, and autocracy triumphant. The ideals of the Republic faded into memory. The dream of the Republic was over, replaced by the reality of emperors and absolute power. Rome would never return to what it once was. The age of liberty had ended, and a new era had begun. Appian diagnosed Rome's fall as a fatal mix of extreme inequality, unchecked ambition, and the transformation of the army. The gulf between rich and poor made society unstable and citizens desperate. Ambitious men, Marius and Sulla Caesar, put personal power above the state. Armies became loyal to generals, not the Republic. The sword replaced the law. Violence became normal, each act breaking down restraints for the next. The Republic died by 1,000 cuts. Each compromise, each broken norm made the next easier. Rome forgot how to settle differences peacefully. The Republic's end was slow but inevitable. Appian wrote as a warning. He knew the peace of empire had cost Rome its freedom. His history is a memorial to lost liberty and a lesson in how republics die. He warns us, watch for extreme inequality, demagogues and leaders who put ambition above law. Political norms are fragile. Once broken, they're hard to restore. Tyranny comes gradually, step by step, with each compromise and each acceptance of violence. The citizens of Rome lost their freedom bit by bit, often cheering for those who took it away. The Republic was not conquered, it was surrendered. Appian's mirror forces us to ask, are we seeing the same warning signs today? Republics depend on shared values, the rule of law, and citizens who put the state above personal ambition. Every generation must learn this lesson anew.